to talk to you. I'm always excited because, like, I feel like every time we talk, there's like there are these gems of Will Moreland wisdom that just come spewing out, man. But nah, I saw this picture, and let me see if I can pull it up, and put us in the thingamajig. Nope, that's not how I wanted it. All right, that might work. Okay.
Yeah, that's in the middle.
So-
Yep, there we go.
oh, there we go. Okay. All right. So yeah. So don't box me in.
Right.
Don't box me in. Now, can I see the whole picture on that? You're wearing Jordans in there. I don't think I can see that. I don't think I can pull up the whole one, but I'm gonna try to find another one. So I love this because doesn't matter if you're rocking J's or the Ferragamos, you making it all work. So I just want to talk about that for a few minutes.
Yeah, man. I'm from the hip hop generation, right? I was born in Compton, California. So I was birthed. Hip hop is about 50 years old. I'm 49 years old. So my whole life has been framed by hip hop. Jay-Z is one of my favorite artists. And so, for the longest time, I just wanted to be me. I just wanted to be me. Now I'm educated. I've been educated at the highest level. I have an earned doctorate degree, but I'm hip hop. And so what I've been trying to do is infuse every aspect of myself, because that's what makes it enjoyable for me. So when I started out in speaking, I mimicked everybody else, right? I mimicked Les Brown. I had the blue suit, the white shirt, the red tie, because that's what they said you had to do, right? That was corporate. That was being professional. But then I said, you know what? I don't want to win being somebody else. I want to win being myself. I want to be true to myself. And if that meant it was going to cost me a couple of gigs because they were put off by my tennis shoe game, because I'm a sneakerhead as well. I have over 400 pairs of shoes. And so I need opportunities to wear them, right? I need opportunities to wear them. If I don't wear them to work, then where am I going to wear them to, right? So I just decided, man, that I was going to win being myself, and I was going to wear my sneakers on stage. And so to really be true, when I got the opportunity to go to the White House and to go to Capitol Hill, I had to take the J's with me, man. Had to take the J's with me.
Man, I'm mad that it's cropped out. I'm gonna try to get another version back. Those J's are look. You have 400 pair of shoes.
I got 400 pair, man. And I just downsized to that. Over the summer, I gave a bunch of kids in the neighborhood a whole lot of shoes, man.
Man, oh man, that's super cool. So are they can you write those off? Like, how does that work? Like
you know what? I never thought about it, man. It's just some people collect artwork, some people collect stamps. I collect shoes, man.
I love it. I love it. I want to talk to you a little bit about being a multi-hyphenate, because I agree, man. I feel like let's maybe roll it back like 20, 30 years ago in the speaking industry, or maybe even 10 years ago. Heck, you almost had to fit in within these archetypes. So you had like the college speaker, you had the motivational speaker, the Les Browns, the Lisa Nichols, the very inspirational. Then you had like folks who were corporate, or trainers, if you will. And so now, just peeling back the layer of speaking for a moment and just looking at entrepreneurship, or looking at building a brand, or looking at creating a company, or doing anything that requires leaving your house to make money. I think the conventional wisdom before was, hey, like, pick a niche and do it really, really well. Like, if you're going to be a speaker, like, don't just be a leadership speaker, be a speaker who focuses on supporting like mid-level managers to get their first, prepare for their first vice president role, like that level of specificity. But then I think sometimes we kind of get into these niches, and there's still riches and niches. I believe that, but I have seen people once you master one, begin to spread out and add on these additional arms of revenue. But as people, like, all speakers are people. And so as people, we also have varying interests. Like some of us like anime, some of us like fashion, some of us like hip hop, and being able to express those things and weave them into our brand. Like if we are more on a corporate side, it may not always be intuitive. So I'm really just curious around how how do you do it, man? Like how do you blend these different elements of your life and your personality? Because I see you at volleyball, you're volleyball dad on the weekend, right? And then you corporate, like you're on stage speaking to like 300 leaders on Monday. So like how do you make it all like fit together?
Yeah, you said it. We're not monolithic, right? We're not just all one thing. All of us have various things that we enjoy. And so whether that is professionally, I may be trained to do this professionally, but on the weekends, I may want to play in my rock band, or I may want to go pick flowers or go watch bird watching or something like that. And so I think the true gift of life is what I call living from your core. And for me, Brian, it happened for me when I was about 34 years old. One morning I was looking in the mirror and I knew who I was looking at, but I didn't know who I was looking at, because like all of us, we're all thrown these labels, and people label you and they want you to fit in that box. They want you to fit whatever that label is. So for instance, you'll hear it like this. We'll hear something and we'll hear someone say, "Oh, I thought he was a teacher. Why is he doing that? Oh, I thought he was a pastor. Why is he at the Jay-Z concert? Oh, I thought she was this. Why is she over here doing that?" And so we like to lock people in a box because that's where we're comfortable. In every relationship, wherever someone meets you, if someone met you in high school, that's where you guys relate. So you can meet somebody 20 years later that you went to high school with, and they're going to take you right back to high school because that's where they remember you. So it's like, wait a minute, Brian, you're leading this big corporation. Wait, Brian, you're the kid that was in math class goofing off. How can you be this big time CEO? Because they see you as, this 15-year-old kid. So when I was 34 years old, I'm looking in this mirror and I had all these labels. I was father, I was husband, I was pastor, I was mentor, I was all these things, but I really didn't know who I was because I was just formatting to what everybody said. You've been there before, right? Hey, Brian, you should be this, or you would be good at this. This is what you should do.
It's always
and so
basketball.
we get right. So many people are locked into their parents' dream. Like my mom always wanted me to be a doctor. My mom wanted me to be a nurse. Or they said, hey, if you want to be successful, you got to get locked into this job, get a good government job, and then you'll have job security. But at 34 years old, I said, you know what? I really want to live the rest of my life as myself. I really want to live the rest of my life as myself, not some carbon copy of what other people think I should be. So I went on this journey that I now call my clarity journey. And Brian, I tried everything. I went water rafting, I went camping, I went skiing, because these were things that they said Black people don't do, right? I didn't know if I liked it or not because they said Black people don't go horseback riding, Black people don't get in the water, we don't swim, all that kind of stuff. I started eating all different types of food because
Did you go to Martha's Vineyard? I heard that's what
No. I didn't go there, but I just started going to all these different experiences because I really wanted to know. Like if Brian asked me, hey, Will, do you like camping? I really wanted to know, do I like camping or do I not like camping? But I didn't want it to be like, oh man, Black people don't go camping. I didn't want my life to be like that. And so I started going to all these different experiences. Now I can tell you, between camping and being at a tropical beach, I would rather be at a tropical beach, right? So I know that for sure. I know that about me. And so now I call it living from your core. And I challenge everybody to find out what living from your core really is. And so to get to where you're talking about having all these different expressions, if you could think about an apple, right? Most people look at an apple, and if you can think about an apple, most people just say, oh, that's a fruit. Oh, it's red. Oh, it's round. But if you start getting to the core of an apple, you can then have apple juice, apple sauce, apple pie, apple fritter, apple custard, right? You can have all these different expressions. And so for me, that's what my life is. Everything that you see me do is just a different expression. It's just a different form of the apple. So today you may see me applesauce. Tomorrow you may see me apple fritter. Tomorrow you may see me apple pie, but it's all me. It's not orange juice. It's not lemon juice. It's all apple. So if you ask me to make you an apple pie, I got you. If you ask me to make you applesauce, I got you. If you ask me to make lemon meringue, I ain't got you, because that's not me.
That's a beautiful analogy, which, by the way, also makes me hungry because I personally love apples, and I've been watching this Meghan Markle, that Netflix show, and so she's on there making homemade apple butter, and I'm like, get out my face. So like, I really love that. And so for you, what are your apples? Like, is it because I see you, like, I'm gonna tell you how I see you, and then you maybe fact check me. So when I think about you, I see obviously writing. Like, and maybe these are the expressions, so let me know. But so these are just maybe the channels that go through. But having a format to express your thoughts, opinions, stories from the trenches, client testimony, like all the work that you've done, I feel like books give us a place to hold space and then also bring people into those multiple dimensions. I see capacity building. So when I look at things like the Genius Speaker Academy, your ability to build community, not just followership, but community. Like, people are like, Dr. Will is helping me solve this very specific problem in speaking. He's helping me, dominate my backyard, or helping me make sure I up level my keynote. And then you also have this space of like this external facing piece on the corporate side, teaching civility and helping corporations and companies and organizations just be better people while you're working with people. And so I'm seeing all these different dimensions, and I'm wondering, like, what is the apple that kind of pulls all that together? Like, what's the core fruit?
Yeah, so the core for me, great question. So the core for me is, I'm a teacher at heart. I love to teach. And so when you think about teaching, and this is going to be great for entrepreneurship, right? I want you guys to think about this. So when you think about teaching, teaching is a skill. So let's think about teaching. And then I want you to also think, let's just use as an example, I want you to think about basketball. And so I'm going to use myself, and I'm going to use LeBron James. I'm going to use teaching, and I'm going to use basketball. Both of these are skill sets. Both of these are skill sets. So one of the things you want to do is find, what skill are you really good at? What skill are you really good at? Then you want to take that skill, and then you want to place that skill in the best possible avenue, so you can exploit that skill and get paid top dollar for it. So give you an example again. I'm a teacher. That's a skill. Now with that skill, I can take that skill and I can put it in different sectors, right? And so I've done it before. I've been a principal of a school. So I've taken that skill and put it in the education system. I've been a pastor. So I've taken that skill of teaching the Bible and put it in a faith community. But when I think about myself, how do I want to live life? Living from my core. Core is an acronym that I use, and it stands for clarity, opportunities, relationship, and experiences. So how do I want to experience life? So for me, Brian, freedom of time is very important to me. Flexibility is very important to me, and finances is very important to me. So when I look at time, when I look at flexibility, and when I look at finances, and then I look at my skill, what avenue, what sector of business is going to allow me to experience flexibility, time, and finances at a high level? Right? So when you look at LeBron James, he plays basketball. That's his skill set. Now, you would agree, Brian, that somebody playing basketball at the YMCA and somebody playing basketball in the NBA, those are two different genres, right?
Yeah, they think that the YMCA people think they can hang. They think
right,
right. But yeah.
And so when you think about this, when I looked at time freedom, when I looked at flexibility, when I looked at finances, and I was looking at my skill, I put my skill in these different things. Education, as a teacher, society has said, we're going to put this value on teachers. We're going to put this value on teachers. So if you're doing K through 12, we're going to put a value of, let's say, 60,000, 65,000 at the max, right? That's what we're going to give teachers. If you get into administration, if you get into counseling, get into principal, you may go up to 80,000, may go up to 100,000, but we're going to cap you right there. Then we look at college. If you're a professor with tenure, we may give you 110,000, we may give you 120,000, but that's going to be capped. You're not going to find a professor making $1 million. You're not going to find a teacher making $1 million. They're capped, right? Yeah. Society says this is the value that we put on this skill in this particular industry. So if I'm a teacher, if I'm a professor, I have to be at work from 9 to 5. I'm pretty much locked in, right? So there's time freedom. I don't really have time freedom. I really don't have flexibility. And the type of income that I want, I'm not going to really get my income because it's tapped at 100K, right? If I'm a college professor. So then I said, then I can't put my skill there. Then I went into the church. I was in the church realm. I was a pastor for 8 years. Well, you definitely know you're not going to have no time freedom. You're not going to have no flexibility, and you definitely not going to get no money, man.
I actually know very little about the life of a pastor. Like I don't know what I assume that I was always impressed how pastors were able to spit out a new, fresh, original content every week. And then you got stuff during the week, like, funeral.
So let me break that down. So as a pastor, to your point, right? Every week you're coming up with a new message. So look at the study time. For me, Brian, for every hour that I was in the pulpit, I would invest anywhere between 8 to 12 hours a week preparing for that 1 hour presentation. Right, for that 1 hour presentation. So I'm reading the Bible, I get the text, I get my thought, but then I'm going to my Strong's Concordance. I'm looking up the Greek, I'm looking up the Hebrew. I want to know what this word means. I want to know what was the difference in that setting, in the setting that we're in today in 2025, right? Then on top of that, I have members who want counseling in all different facets. I got members that want marital counseling. I got members that want, I'm watching pornography. I got members who, kids having kid problems. I have members who are asking me about business,
So they like office hours, basically.
Office hours, right? So when we go back to time and flexibility, I had no time. I had no flexibility, right? And then I wasn't getting paid, right? I wasn't getting paid a lot of money, right? So for me personally, this is how my week looked. I was pastoring at the height of it. I was pastoring 3 different churches. So I would three different churches. So I would go. So one Sunday I would minister early in the morning at 2 services at the one location. Then I would drive 40 minutes to go pastor the other church. Then the next Sunday, because the other church was an hour and a half away, I would then go minister at that church the other Sunday. So every Sunday I would alternate. But during the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I was doing Bible study at the different locations. So that's Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday, I would be doing some type of ministering at some guest church or something like that. On Saturday, I would be doing leadership training for our leaders. So my whole week was, at the church. And then I'm counseling other days, other times, and things like that. So that's what my day looked like. I was doing all of this, Brian, and you know how much I was getting paid? I was getting paid $2,000 a month.
For across all 3?
$2,000 total for all 3.
I was like, you add $1 to $6K is not bad. You know what I'm saying?
2,000 altogether for all of it, right?
Yeah.
Now,
That's wild.
let's jump forward to entrepreneurship, right? So I showed you I can take this skill of speaking and take this skill of teaching, put it in the education realm. They're tapped out, they're tapped out at 100K. I put it in the faith realm. If you heard or somebody else heard, oh, this pastor is getting paid $350,000 a year, most people would be like, what? No way, the pastor should be getting paid $350,000. But if you look at any other corporate executive that has those same type of responsibilities, if you have employees, if you have a business that has 500 employees, 1,000 employees, think about a pastor who has a church like a TD Jakes has 25,000 members. That's just in his local church, not the oversight of his organization with other pastors. And then people would balk at him getting paid, right? Or him being, a millionaire. So I said, you know what? I don't want to be in that space because people are clocking me. They're clocking if I'm rocking my Range Rover. They saying I'm stealing money. Man, I was getting paid $2,000. I ain't stealing no money from nobody, right? So when I came to the entrepreneurship side, Brian, wait a minute. I can speak for 1 hour and get paid $25,000 1 hour. I can get paid $25,000 if I get better at my skill. Let's go back to LeBron James, right? Let's go back to the dude that's playing at the YMCA. If you could get serious about this skill and then you get the opportunity to play in the NBA where we see what type of money they get, right? That's how I felt about speaking. If I could take this skill and become one of the best with this skill. I saw Les, I saw Jim Rome, I saw Tony Robbins. They were getting paid 20, 25,000, 50,000, 100K. I said, oh, if I could body this skill, if I could take this skill and take it to the next level, then I could get paid like that. And then I could have time freedom, I could have flexibility, and I could have the finances that I want. I could have all the shoes that I want. I could have the house that I want. I can have the cars that I want. And so if you look at LeBron James, LeBron got very, very good in basketball. But what happens when you get very, very good at anything? People just want to be connected to you. And this leads into, Brian, what you talk about, all the different avenues, right? So like right now, if LeBron James, once he stops playing and he opens up the LeBron James basketball camp, how many kids do you think are going to go to the LeBron James basketball camp, right? If LeBron says, okay, I'm going to open up the LeBron James Sports Center, right? And have all different types of elite athletes. How many people do you think would sign up? All because he played basketball at an elite level. And so that's what started happening for me when I started taking the speaking industry serious and said, okay, I'm going to be one of the best of the best. Then what naturally happens is people want to connect to that. So how did the academy come about? People saw how well I was doing in the speaking industry, and so they started saying, "Hey, Dr. Will, can I pick your brain for a minute? Can I take you out to lunch? Can I?" Well, number one, no, you can't pick my brain. I need all of my brain. So I'm not letting nobody pick my brain, right? The next thing is, Brian, what did it do? If I'm talking to 10 people a day for 30 minutes a piece, that's my day. That's time. That's flexibility. It's gone. That's another job. That's a job, right? Just letting people, And then I said, you know what? It's such a disservice to you if I try to explain how I built my business in 20 minutes. All you're going to do is maybe get inspired for a minute, but you're probably going to leave more confused than when you came, right? And so I said, okay, how can I teach these people and how can I teach them effectively and really give them some good value? That's why we created the Speakers Academy. And so I could put my blueprint, I could now record all the videos. So we recorded like 50 plus videos, made a course around it. And now that course can go out to hundreds of people, where I now have my time back. I now have my freedom back. To talk about the books, the same thing that was happening with the books. For me, it's just another expression of myself. For me, I say, I did this. It helped me. It worked out for me. maybe it may help Brian. Let me put it in a book. And so that's literally, when you look at the 50 plus books I wrote, they're just an expression of an experience. They're an expression of a result. They're an expression of some wisdom, of some knowledge that I think would help the masses. So when I never set out to write 50 plus books, it was just me wanting to serve my community, as you talked about, when they kept saying, hey, Dr. Will, how do you dominate your backyard? Okay, let me put this in a book. Dr. Will, how do you get your finances together? Okay, Dr. Will, I'm a believer. I'm a Christian. Are there some biblical tools I can use to build wealth? Then let me write the book, Biblical Keys for Business Success, right? So it's just an expression of me. It's just an expression of me. And then the ultimate, though, Brian, why I've set up all these things is really for my grandchildren. I want them, when I'm long and gone, I want them to be able to pick up my book and say, what did Grandpa think about this? What did Grandpa think about life? What did he think about finances? What did he think about civility? What did he think about business in general? When I think about my grandmother and how much wisdom she had, I would love to be able to just pop on a YouTube video and listen to my grandmother. I would love to just pick up a book if my grandmother had the time. My grandmother had a desire to write 2 books, but she died before it ever happened. And I mean, it's not a month that goes by that I'm like, man, I wish I would have known what grandma would have put in those books. Man, I wish I could read those books. And so that's why I put out a lot of content as well. I want my family, my grandkids, my great grandkids, I want them to know who their grandfather was. And so it's a part of me leaving a legacy as well.
I love that. Yeah, because once you put something out in perpetuity, I mean, it's like once you publish something, I mean, unless that platform or whatever goes away, but like for the most part, once you put it out in the universe, it's there. There's even that website that there's a website that as soon as you publish something on the internet, it indexes it. And so even if somebody like deletes it, you can go back and like read it and stuff like that. It's crazy. So I do believe that is a legacy piece. Dr. Will, I always love these catch-ups, man. I want to bring you back for a few more of these because I have
let's do it, man.
I literally have 55 questions and 3 of them about Ferragamos. But I like this approach that you're taking because I think there's, when you mentioned the other F, freedom.
Yeah.
The way I interpret that, I don't just see freedom as, hey, I can buy something or I can live in a certain neighborhood. To me, freedom is like you have the opportunity to the extent that you choose to share the pieces of yourself with the world in the format, at the intensity, at the volume. That's why, you can kind of ignore some of this wholesale advice when people are like, you need to post 12 times a day. You need to do that. You need to do what's going to solve the needs in your life, and whatever matches that, that's where you meet it, and not like these other theoretical, I guess, standards and things. It's kind of just noise, because if it doesn't align internally with what you really need, like not everybody needs to be on a plane 180 times a year. Not everybody needs to be like live in front of millions of people. Some people will be great with like a small community of like 10 to 30 people that they can super serve and then just keep it going. And then other people, if you're Oprah, okay, cool. Yeah. Or Issa Rae, these days, like you need to be in front of millions and millions, but like you have to decide what your thing is. And I love that. Go ahead.
That's what living from your core is. Brian, I wish so many people would just take a day, take a week, take a month to really discover who you are. I think so many people get frustrated and so many people get depressed because they're trying to be everybody else. Exactly what you just said. When I figured out, Brian, I literally need to speak 30 times a year at my keynote fee, right? 30 times a year. So when the game now is Who do I need to be? How do I need to show up? Who do I need to impress? I need to impress 30 people. That's literally it. 30 companies, 30 people that say, we want Dr. Will Moreland to come and talk to our company about civility and culture. When you think about dominating your backyard, that's what I said. Okay, in Arizona, we have over 5,000 companies. All I need is 30. That's all I need. And so how many out of that 5,000 do I need to contact? Maybe it's 100, maybe it's 200, but that becomes the work that I need to do. So that's all I focus on. I focus on how many licks does it take to get to the middle of a Tootsie Roll Pop, right? How many emails do I need to send out before I get to 30 yeses? When I was early in my career, maybe it was 500 because nobody knew me. I hadn't built up my brand. Now that I've built up my brand, that number's a lot less. I can talk to maybe 100 corporations and 30% of them, 30 of them are going to say, yes, we want Dr. Will to come in. And so time freedom again, flexibility. I'm not stressing out. My team knows our goal is 30 keynotes. That's it. And so if I talk to you, Brian, and you say, Will, I'm crushing it, man, I spoke 150 times. I say, man, God bless you, Brian. God bless. I'm not jealous of you. I'm not envious of you because that's not what I want to do. And so if people would figure out literally what makes them happy, man, I want to be able to buy a pair of shoes when I want to buy a pair of shoes. I want to be able to do this with Brian. When you reached out and said, hey, Dr. Will, let's connect and let's do this. I want the freedom to be able to say yes because I love talking to Brian. I love hanging out with cool people that let me go ask my boss if I could sneak away I didn't want that. Like I have friends, Brian, that work 9 to 5 and they love it. And they've created an amazing life. Like they've orchestrated their life around the 2 weeks that they get and the PTO that they figured that life out and they love it. That didn't work for me. It didn't work for me. Like I tell my wife, I'm like, man, if I had to sit in a cubicle from 9 to 5, I would probably die. Right. And I probably really would. Now, if I had to do it to maintain the family, I would do it. But on the inside, I would be dying. So for me, man, doing what I do now, if I only made 50K a year, I would be happy because, man, I don't have to drive in traffic every day. I ain't got to go sit in no cubicle. I don't have to have no boss that I'm smarter than. Man, I'm good.
But you talking about don't box me in, like a cubicle is literally a box. And I would imagine like if we put you right now, you ever watch like Undercover Boss?
Oh, I love it. Yes.
One of those shows where they go undercover. Like I feel like that would be a cool social science experiment because I used to work in a cubicle, multiple cubicles, because they changed us every quarter. You had to go sit somewhere else. And I feel like if we put Dr. Will Moreland in a cubicle right now in like 8 weeks, like I feel like you be hosting like cubicle talks, like on a lunch break, you have like a conference room, you have like spinoff. They be like, what? Come on, can you help us spin up our leadership academy? Like it wouldn't last long, and then you would end up doing.
You know what? That's what happened, man. Like every job that I had, man, that's what usually would happen, man. Like I'm either coaching somebody, counseling somebody, and they like, Will, I mean, we need you to do this over here. But that's what it was for me. And so I knew I didn't want to disrespect my employer. I didn't want to, my mind is like always going. I'm like you just said, I'm doing all these different things to put that in a box, man. That would be miserable for me. And so figuring out, what you love to do, because at the end of the day, Brian, here's how we sum it up. If we're blessed, if we're fortunate, we get about 80 years on this planet. If we're blessed, if we're fortunate, we see people dying at 50, 60, 70. If we're blessed and really fortunate, we get 80 years, man. And that's it. What are you going to do with your 80 years? That's the end of the game. What are you going to do with your 80 years? Because once it's over, it's over. You're going to be dead far longer than you were alive. So how are you going to live while you're alive?
We end it right there. Dr. Will Moreland, y'all. Listen, I'll drop all the links to catch up with Dr. Will. We got the Genius Speakers Academy. Always appreciate you just sharing value across Black Speakers Network and across all of our platforms now, because we got a bunch of them apparently. So we're going to keep it happening. Talk to you soon, brother. Take care. Thank you.
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you.